Chapter 68, Treasure. After I finished up my law school work, I rode the Red Line train up to Jackson with my hood up, and then I went into Robbinsog. When I entered, Marcus, Sam, and George were all there because I waited a little bit after I got off the train in a Dunkin' because I needed time for them to all get there, and I did more work in there. I was the last of the five of them to enter. Ladies last, I guess, I said as I was entering. Good timing, said the return. Are we going to get right to it, Marcus asked. Yes, the return answered. Marcus then led us into his room and opened the closet door, and then pulled out the treasure chest the findings in. Here is the treasure, said Marcus. Good, said the return. What are we looking at inside it? Sam asked as Marcus was opening the box. We're looking at everything, the return answered. Marcus then opened the box, and inside it were the exact same contents we found at the public storage in Evanston. First, I want to discuss the diaries. There were 23 of them in here. There were 23 of them, each of which is labeled from 18 to 40, said Marcus. They're based off a year of your mother's life, she began. She began dating your dad at 18, and gave birth to you, George, at 39. But they go on to 40, because that's when she got her mobility issues, said the return. We know that, said Jim. We also know that you based your scavenger hunt to help us find you, George added. Except for 40, said the return. Is that because there was only one entry that was very infamous in 40, I asked. Yes, 40 was not based on my daughter's life at all, said the return. So, did you read these? Marcus asked. I did, answered the return. How did you get these? I mean, those are mother's, just out of curiosity. She sent them to your Aunt Diane, who lives in Seattle, because there your mother wanted them to be as far away from these as possible, and your Aunt Diane gave them to me, and I read them, because I was not having a relationship with her, answered the return. Is that because you learned about her mobility issues? Is that where you learned about her mobility issues? George asked. Yes, the return answered. I am sorry you had to find out that way, said Marcus. Well, how did you find out? The return asked. We noticed it got worse upon her other times, Sam answered for Marcus. To me, it was just normal, said George. I didn't say anything. That is everything you need to know about these diaries. Now, I want to discuss everything else in here, said the return. It appears to have tear gas, grenades, and a gun with 7 bullets in it, said Marcus. Those are your grandfather's, said the return. Really? Sam asked. Or a dead one? George asked. Yep, answered the return. I then walked to the box and looked at the weapons inside, because I wanted to take a closer look at them, this time with the lights on myself to see what the things in there really looked like. Hold on, what is this? I asked. Korean War age, answered the return. He used these weapons in the Korean War? I asked. No, because he was a soldier, and this was all his, even if he never used it. But unfortunately, he suffered from PTSD from some of the things he saw, which is why he had a heart attack, and that's what killed him, answered the return. I see, I said. Now, something I don't want you to be fooled by is even with how old the stuff is, it is still dangerous to use because it can still work, said the return. How did you get this? Sam asked. I inherited all this when your grandfather died, answered the return. So why are you leaving it all to us? Marcus asked. Because you can make a fortune selling this, answered the return. And you want us to be the ones to sell it? Marcus asked. Yes, the return answered. We don't need to. We have plenty of money, Sam said. I know. Had I known how much money you guys are worth, I would have left it to someone else, said the return. So do you want back? Sam asked. No, you went through the pain to find it. I didn't want it because I haven't gotten over his death, and your grandfather has been dead for 30 years, answered the return. Just then a suspicious thought hit me. May I ask you, the return, a question? I asked. Sure, answered the return. How did you not know about your daughter Valerie's, and her husband's income levels if you talked to your other daughters but not her? I asked. That's because I don't discuss personal incomes through the phone, said the return. Through the phone? I asked. Sorry, I meant period, answered the return. She is right, because I never heard Mom discuss it through the phone or a period, when she wasn't talking to someone who did, said Marcus. But here is the thing, though. If you didn't talk to her mother, how do you know about this? Sam asked. It runs in the family. That rule was enacted before I disappeared out of your mother's life, said the return. I see. I'm very sorry I asked, I said. I wasn't offended, said the return. Good, I said. I now don't have any suspicious questions about the return anymore. And then there was the note I left you with directions to go to the Catholic Church in Cicero. So that is that. There is nothing special about that note, which means we have covered the contents of that treasure chest, said the return. Good, said Marcus. Marcus then put back into the treasure chest what needed to be put back in, and locked it up and put it back in the closet where it was to begin with. How's that code thing coming along? The return asked. I thought you said you didn't want to touch it until the time was right, because the time was right for governmental reasons, Sam answered and asked at the same time. You're correct, answered the return. Okay, I am trying to figure out the formula of smaller numbers, so that way I am more prepared for when the time comes, said Sam. That's fine, said the return. Do you want us to do anything with the treasure? Marcus asked. Yes, when the time is right, the return answered. Now I have more suspicions again. Weapons. When is the time right? I asked. Well, let me just say that I am 99.999% sure that the right time will never come, said the return. Answered the return. Does this involve saving Valerie's life? I asked. That's Queen Valerie to you, corrected the return. Oh, I'm sorry, but can you please still answer the question? I said. No, it doesn't, answered the return. So, why are all the weapons here? I asked. Here I'll have some of it for you. And the diaries are not pointless. They tell us what is going on and why their mother is the way she is. The weapons are pointless. I just aren't pointless. I just don't want them anymore. Okay, I said, now trusting to return again. Now, I want to tell you something about that gun, said the return. What is it, Marcus asked. That is the most powerful single shooter in the world. It is a CK-79, and the bullets in it are really rare, said the return. How powerful is it, Sam asked. The bullets can shoot through steel and will penetrate anything they touch, answered the return. So why are you telling us this, Marcus asked. Because the gun can still work, so I just really don't want you putting bullets in it, answered the return. Then maybe you should have sold it, all instead of telling us that, said Sam. Excuse me, the return asked. Sorry, said Sam. I could tell on the look on Sam's face he had no plans on shooting anyone, even if his behavior gets bad. We will keep it all safe, I can assure you that, said Marcus. Thank you so much for taking care of these things. That are really precious to me, said the return. You are welcome, said Marcus. I am glad I finally get to be with you, said the return. The return then put her black cloak back on. I better head home out by Rosemont by O'Hare Airport before the Chicago L rush hour, said the return. Have a nice train ride back out, said Marcus. Marcus, I want you to do me a favor, said the return before she left. What is it, Marcus asked. This weekend, I want you to take your parents out to see me, said the return. Marcus was going before I interrupted him. I'll help him, I said. Thank you, Hannah, said the return. Well, what about us, Sam asked. I want you to stay here in case of a shouting match, said the return. She has a point. That would be bad for my sensory issues, said George. Oh, okay, said Sam. Bye, Marcus, Sam, George, and Hannah, the return said as she was walking out the door. The door then shut.